everybody, it's the interview queen Alicia Toot here, and you are currently listening to and obviously enjoying Queen's Court.
Hi, I'm the Asian sensation Kanji. You're listening to Queen's Court.
Hi guys, this is the Queen of Queens Visage talking, and I am so happy to introduce you to the Queen's Court.
All right, everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Queen's Court with your girl, the Queen of NE. This episode is titled Women's Wrestling Celebration for Women's History Month, babies. And I'm not alone. I have the triple threat with me, finally here. I don't know what to do with myself. This has been a long time in the making. I have the Queen of the Indies. I have my Queen of Makeup. I have my Queen of my Queens of New York. I have my Queens of everything with me. Girls, say hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I love it. I'm so excited for this. I mean, we've only been talking about this for a while now.
I know.
I love it.
Only like forever. And
so excited.
You know, we're finally together. We're finally going to talk about something awesome. And as ladies of wrestling Twitter / wrestling podcasting, this is the coolest. So for March, of course, is Women's History Month. And I hit you both up and I was like, look, here's what we're going to do. If you're down, we're going to get the triple threat together.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have a discussion about a couple different things. But we want to celebrate the ladies because this month's all about us. We only get one, even though we're going to make it all 12 months. Just saying.
Hell yeah.
But it's a special one. So we get to highlight the females. So I figured we'll talk a little bit about female wrestlers that got us, hooked when we were younger, ones we love now. We'll talk a little bit about our wrestling podcast as leading ladies and what that's been like. And celebrate the ladies of wrestling Twitter and wrestling podcasting. And of course, April, you'll get to join in on this one this time. Tiff, Get the Fan for February is happening.
Oh, I'm ready. I've been waiting for this moment forever.
She's been waiting for it, and it's happening.
Yes.
Love it. Get the fan. Oof.
Fan for February. It's happening. I have, for these ladies and myself, I have ordered us fans in their favorite colors.
Woohoo!
And we will all have fans now. And when they're in, I will send them to you. So when you take them to shows, you will have an official Get the Fan.
Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it because people are improvising and using fans at shows when I go to shows now. And like we're using Oak Tag and somebody was like fanning me last night with a Roman Reigns fan. I'm like, what is this? Like,
and then our other friend bought a Castlevania fan. And I'm like, yo, you are such the MVP tonight. Like, it wasn't even funny. We were sliding all over the place. He's like, I got you with the fan. I got you. We're like, yo, thank you. Thank you. Because we would have died.
I
like
love
from all the sliding.
Stuff got started, and I love how, I started List of Husbands, and you started Queen the Get the Fan, and it's just like it's going all over the place.
It's a movement.
It's a movement.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. Movement. Good golly. Well, of course, our little indie queen was at a show last night, and I saw this thing that says movement, and I'm like, girl, what is going on?
Oh. You guys need to be a part of the Moo movement. It's a thing.
Part of the Moo movement because we can make that happen. You can be part of the Moo movement.
I'll join. Like I'm down. Whatever you think is good, I'm in.
Oh man, we're trendsetters around here, man. That's all that it matters. Like if it's out there, I swear to God, I'm gonna get a stuffed animal cow, and he's gonna be the mascot of the Indie Talks podcast. Yes. So I don't know, Moo movement, Get the Fan, and List the Husbands, and the Slip and Slide Party. I'm telling you.
I got the Slip and Slide parties on my side because when I'm seeing these husbands, I'm like, ooh, all over the place. I apologize if anyone falls, but I'm not responsible for it because you should have watched the step.
That's my girl right there. I can't. I'm already so excited for this. You know what? I want to dive a little out of order. I want to start with our podcast. So can we have each of you update us on what's going on in your world before we kind of dive into these ladies of wrestling?
Let's do it. Good, April. You go.
You
All
go.
right, so
Tell us.
this is my first time on the show. I was part of a podcast called Yep, I Like Wrestling, and we were we have a live streaming show called Unpopular Review. We're on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after WWE TV / NXT / AEW, and we just review the shows and everything. But last night was my official last day with the show. I was with them for about a year, and my gimmick is the Brooklyn Wolf of Makeup. And one thing I love is makeup and wrestling, and I wanted to bring both into one. And I feel like I did that with this show. So considering that last night was my last night with the show, I will be working on my own thing. So you guys need to stay tuned, where I will be combining the most masculine sports entertainment there is with the most feminist thing a woman can do. So make sure you tune in for that.
Can't wait. I'm here for it.
Yes.
We need more women in wrestling, man.
That's
Yes.
it.
Oh,
I
there's
need
more
more faces to beat.
Yes.
Right.
Faces to
And
beat.
me and Queen will be your subjects, and you can do our faces while we watch them
Oh,
wrestle.
yeah. Y'all gonna be the VPs of the Beat Face Club.
I'm in.
That's just a little spoiler for y'all, but I will not reveal any more. You guys will be
Okay.
the VPs of the Beat Face
I'm
Club.
excited.
Girl, I'll come with a bag full of makeup. Don't try me.
Yes.
Star Cosmetics full up.
Oof.
Yes.
Let's do it. Do it.
I just got the crown queen mirror from his new Bloodlust collection because it's
I love
purple
that
and a
mirror.
crown. Yeah, it's
So
upstairs.
beautiful.
I'm
Ooh.
obsessed.
I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah,
I need it.
Yeah.
same.
Love it.
You need it. All right, Tiff.
All right. Well,
You got a lot going on. What's going
oh
on?
my God, it's too much. God, it's funny because people are coming up to me. They're like, "How many podcasts are you doing now?" I was like, "Too many, man." Like, no, but the baby, everything obviously is under the No Holds Barred network, and the main baby is the All Elite podcast that I do with Kyle Masters. And then of course, like I have to bring the indie side of me, which you guys know I'm the queen of the indies. So between indie talks where I go to shows and review shows that I go to, and now I'm incorporating going to shows and doing interviews at shows post and after and before, and all this great, oh my God, it's really an experience. And I love the fact of people staying in kayfabe and breaking out of character as well during this, which is great. And of course I have Under the Ropes, which is just as great too, because there would be no WWE, New Japan, AEW, and all that great stuff without indie wrestling. So where do the stars come from before? They come in the indie scene. So hopefully these guys that I interview on the podcast, you get to see eventually on TV. So it's great stuff, and I'm loving every minute of it. So, but yeah, I'm all over the place. So
Yes, you are, and I love it. I love seeing my girls everywhere. Y'all are always together going to shows. It makes me so happy. It's the best thing ever because wrestling is so much fun. And
Yes.
you're right about where did all these people come from? Well, they came from indie promotions first. They got to start somewhere, right?
Okay.
Sometimes they get called up, if you will, to use a sports term, early, and they go to a bigger promotion right away. But often they do a lot of the indie circuit. So it's super important to support and celebrate indie wrestling as well. But like indie wrestlers, we as fans have to start somewhere. And because we're celebrating Women's History Month, I wanted to start with the ladies that grabbed our attention when we first started diving into wrestling and first decided, yeah, I'm going to be a wrestling fan, and this is for me. What were kind of the women that you gravitated towards right away? April, what about you to start?
I feel like I've been talking about this for weeks since it is Women's Month. I gotta say, the one person who's caught my eye, I've been watching wrestling since I was a kid. The one person that caught my eye was Chyna.
Mm-hmm.
I saw her. She was just this badass warrior rolling with DX, looking a little, strong. I'm over here questioning her sexuality, but she's in the ring beating these guys, just rolling with them. And at the time, I was a tomboy. So I loved this. I loved, play fighting with guys, playing sports, and, was getting alienated because I'm a girl. So when I used to watch her on TV, and she used to just be so badass, she thinks they think she's the only woman who won the IC title. She was in King of the Ring tournament, and then, when she got her plastic surgery and stuff, looking more like a woman, that didn't change for me because, like, at the end of the day, she's just so badass, and I loved her for all of that. Lita is another one. Like, she was just another one who just did not care. Like, she rolled with the boys. You know, she was looking girly, but at the same time being a tomboy and doing these high flies and doing everything that any of these men can do. So those are the two women that I can say who really caught my eye. And it's like, you know what? Wrestling is not just for guys. You know, we had the bra and panty matches and all that stuff, which I really didn't care for. But at the same time, that's kind of where it all started, because they did need eyes, but then they started bringing these badass women in to gravitate even more, and then they started dying down on that. And I was in and out for years, and I just got back into wrestling 3 years ago. So now I have a new set of women to look up to, and now I got the queen taking me to indie shows and seeing all these female indie wrestlers, especially doing intergendered wrestling. And I'm like, oh my God, these women are so badass. It's just like, you know what? Like, I don't even care about men's matches anymore. I just want to see women just beat the hell out of guys and, you know, stand up.
Love that.
It really is crazy that, of course, like, I started watching wrestling in the 90s, and I think, like, back then it was more of, like, the valets. It wasn't so much in the ring back then. So it was really, like, you know, when I go back, I think about a lot of the men wrestling. So later on in life, obviously, like, Lita was great. I absolutely love her. She's just very different. Like, you get that tomboy feel, and her getting into the ring, and it's, oh my God. But, like, I remember, like, in the 90s, like, it was like Luna Vachon, like, coming out even, like, with Shawn Michaels, and who else? Like, I'm trying to, like, go back. Sunny used to come out. Like, I'm forgetting these names, and, like, that's back then. It really was, like, you didn't really have, at that time when I started watching, it was more valets. You didn't really have women wrestling like what you have today. And you're right, what April said, that it's funny. It's like, we go to all these indie shows, and it's amazing. And I love actually interviewing some of these wrestlers and hearing the, you know, the conversations, because they tell me that, you know, I'm like, how is it, like, as a female and working with these guys in the ring? And they're like, well, you got to think about this also, is that we're training with all these guys. There's not really a separate class for, you know, men training with men and women training with women. You know, the women are actually training with the guys. And what I'm also finding out is a lot of the women are saying that they feel safer with the guys. And you would think that, like, the guys are going to be super careful and stuff, but these girls can go. Now, it's really, really great, and I'm really loving intergender matches, even though sometimes it does make me a little bit nervous as a female, because you do worry that, like, oh, guy's big and strong, and he's gonna hurt you and everything like that. But a lot of these girls can hold their own. But we've come a long, long way from that to actually intergender. It's
straight facts right there. You're absolutely right, and I think that's where I kind of wanted to start this, is looking back at our past. You know, Lita was my girl. Like, I loved her. A little bit of a hardcore scene. She's a punk rock singer. She's, you know, dressing in the, as I call it, like the 90s, 2000s Hot Topic style. You know what I mean? The fishnets, the pants with them. Let's bring it back. I'm ready. Neon colored fishnets. Like, I'm all about it. Like, I loved her. And China was really I would say one of the first and to really, like, be on the same level, or considered to be on the same level as some of the men and in her time period, having the IC title, being in the Royal Rumble and doing all of that kind of stuff, set a precedent, excuse me, towards our future. And I feel like we had, like, a little bit of a dark period, because you're right, Tiff, when you say it's a lot of valet. Like, when I think of Miss Elizabeth and Sunny and people just escorting these guys to the ring, that's really what we saw as women. So we were like, oh, well, there's the pretty girl on his arm taking him to the ring, you know, and that's kind of what it was at first. And then things slowly began to evolve. And, you know, WWE gets a lot of credit for the women's revolution and all that stuff. But I think if there's a lot of dark period with those bra and panty matches and things that are really kind of gross to still think about. I remember not wanting to watch them, but really loving a lot of these women that were involved in these storylines and wanting more for them. I really liked Trish Stratus. I really liked Molly Holly and Victoria. And I mean, could you imagine Victoria, like, in her 20s right now, and what she would be able to accomplish in women's wrestling with all of the opportunities available? Like, that's the kind of stuff I still think about. Like, oh my God, like, the times have so changed. And yeah, we've come a real long way. The fact that we can go now to all these indie shows and see these intergender matches.
Yeah.
Have these ladies involved in everything. Our pal Colin at Synergy Pro Wrestling,
Yep.
Casey Catal, she's in there for a triple threat for the crown, the cruiserweight crown, and she has just as much of a chance as those other two do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Which I think is like, finally, it's so dope. And shout out to Colin and other indie promotions that are just like, I don't care who you are. Wrestle. If you're the best of the best, you're the best of the best. And that's the kind of stuff that I feel like we need to see more of these days.
We really do. Like you said, times have changed so much, and it's not about wrestling. It's just not about the men anymore. It's about the women. So, like I said, like I look forward to these women matches, and like Tiff mentioned, like I got so much into gendered wrestling, and I love it. And people underestimate the strength that a woman can have. Like I fear watching these guys in the ring. I give them so much credit. They are so underappreciated. And even if we go back to, the women of the WWE, and we had those bra and panty matches and stuff, despite all that, they still got in the ring. They still did their thing. They still took their bumps. People have gotten injured so badly just for our entertainment. So these women do not get enough credit. And now that we're having so many more, and now we're getting battle royales, we're getting, major title pushes for this woman. Hell, we got a woman who is a champion at Impact. Impact world heavyweight champion at Impact. And I know that caused a lot of controversy, but it's like, shit. If guys could do it, now we got, Tessa Blanchard doing it. Why can't women do it? I mean, I know it's a controversial thing, but now we're in this day and age that a woman could do anything. Like, fuck it.
And think about with kids, like little kids, like looking up to women that they're like, wow, they can actually do that. And we can look up, the kids can actually look up to these women like, wow, they can do this, then I can do anything, which I think it's teaching such a, a great lesson, to the youth nowadays. I mean, as it is now, women are equal to the men. And I mean, of course, you're going to have your controversy with that, but like us as women, we can do anything. I mean, I couldn't get into the ring. I give you guys a lot of freaking credit to get into the ring. I couldn't even get into the ring to do a damn interview. I was having
my God. We were struggling so hard to get in the ring because we're like, okay, what rope? And they're like, oh my God, these ropes are heavy. And then we get in the ring and I'm like, oh my God, this is so hard.
That particular ring was like really like weird how it was like set up.
In the ring.
The lowest freaking rope was so low. I'm like, what the hell is this? I was like, because
it's like terrible limbo, isn't it? It's awful.
Yeah, like, what the heck? I was like, oh my goodness. But
we're like, do you need help? I'm like, I don't need help. I can do this.
It makes you just want to dive through them.
Yeah, I give you guys like freaking credit, but oh my God, the fact that like, the lifting that they can do, and it's crazy. And like, I know we're gonna talk about like currently and stuff like that.
Yeah, let's go.
I love freaking Bianca Belair.
Oh, that's the one right there.
Oh, let's go. No, I love that girl. I give her so much freaking credit. She's a beast. Yes. I loved her. I was so mad that she didn't pick up the damn NXT championship belt. Like, what was it, last year?
I'm so mad about that.
Like, it was just, I was so behind her. And I know everybody was like, oh, she's so green, but I'm like, she's so good. She's
so good.
I was like, she's so different. I was like, she's just the gimmick, but she's just a little beast who can lift like, women up. Oh my God, I can't. She's so good. And like, I know I don't keep up with WWE anymore, but I mean, there really are a lot of great athletes in the WWE, but she is definitely a favorite.
She's a star.
She's gonna go far. I hope they book her correctly, and I really wish that before she left NXT that she would have took the NXT belt. She really, really did deserve that. So, but I love her. I love her to death right now.
She shined in the Women's Royal Rumble, and I was having this conversation on my show last night. I don't understand why she didn't win last WrestleMania when she fought Shayna. That would have been perfect, and now it makes the way everything is built up. It makes absolutely no sense. Like you said, Tiff, I would love for her to be NXT champ before she leaves, but I don't see that happening. Yeah. But if it does come to the main roster, I hope they give her a major push. She deserves it.
Yeah.
I think they will give it to her before she goes. I really do.
Because
I think whatever's going to happen between Rhea and Charlotte is going to happen between Rhea and Charlotte. But Charlotte, I don't think is going to be in NXT for too long. Put it that way. I think it's a temporary thing to try and boost some ratings, obviously, because AEW is tearing it up on Wednesday nights. So,
Yeah.
for ratings wise, and NXT is awesome. They have some of the best wrestling talent in the whole wide world,
Yes.
and their
Yeah.
women's division is absolutely stacked. And
Yeah,
I think
for
Bianca
sure.
has the opportunity now. They've given her that spot in the Royal Rumble. I mean, she eliminated 8 people.
Yeah.
She looked like a damn star in that black and gold wrestling gear. She's strong. And then that package that when Charlotte started to come down and like taunt Rhea and stuff, and she got involved,
Oh
and
my
the
God, I love
character,
that.
the swag, when she looked at them and Charlotte like put her hand in her face and she was like looking ready to take off her hoops, and I was
Yo,
dying.
I was so hyped.
I was so hyped up.
You don't even go here. I'm like, yes, girl. Yes.
I miss her undefeated thing. Undefeated. I love that gimmick of her.
Me
She,
too.
oh
I
my
miss it
God,
too. I wish they didn't take it away.
I wish they would have ran with it because she really is great. And you're right, NXT does have a great women's division. You know, the AEW and of course me running the All Elite podcast and everything like that. It's like there's some really great talent on the AEW roster. It's just why is it not being used? And I hate the fact that again we're having some of them valeting, which I don't really like. I mean, how many valets are you going to have? Like, you can have a very short division. I mean, Sheeta is absolutely amazing. I like didn't know of her before AEW, and like I'm like in love with her. Chris Statlander, I followed in indies here in New York, and she's been a beast. And I loved her. And if you watched her and John Silver on New Year's Eve for Beyond,
good.
Oh my God,
So good.
the freaking intergender matches. I can't. I really hope that we do start to get that eventually in AEW. And then you can even talk about your girl queen, Penelope. All right.
Yes, baby.
So
I
good. I love her.
Good.
She should be wrestling.
Yes.
I don't like her valet. I get it, but she should be in the ring. Alone on the dark that we got when they were on the cruise ship, like it was
Oh my
so great. Like
God.
she held her own. I was like,
Ass.
yes, queen, you are a beast. I love her. I absolutely. Oh my God, there is so many women.
I know.
In the title picture.
On Jordan Grace.
Okay. Yes.
I know.
Oh my God, Jordan Grace. She's
Jamie-
another one.
Jamie,
Yeah, she's amazing.
Jamie
Jamie Hater.
Yeah, she
That's
needs.
it.
Yes. Where is she?
Well,
She's in Stardom.
Yeah, she's in Stardom. She's not like.
Kicking butt. They have the tag champs, and then Jamie is another champ. I can't remember the title of it right now, but in Stardom they're kicking ass as the top gaijins over there. So
Yeah, she's.
woo, baby.
Oh my
I love
God.
her.
I can
So
keep going.
who else do we love? April, give me some names.
Oh my God. So
Now.
there's not too many that I know like in the indies. Like I know Casey Cattell, like when I saw her, I was like, oh shit, yes. Valentina, Karen, I think that's her name.
Karen Bam Bam, yeah.
Yeah, Karen Bam Bam. Like I'm all about big women doing their shit.
Oh my God.
All about it. So, I have to mention my girl Nia Jax. I know she gets a lot of hate, but I don't care. Like she is a big woman. She's so strong, and I do get those kind of vibes from her, and I love it. Tessa Blanchard, like just so many of these women. But you said Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley is another one. She's such a gem. Oh my God! If I want to go back, my heart will always be with Paige.
Same.
I was such a huge Paige fan. When she retired, I cried. That shit broke my heart. Another one's AJ Lee. She's another one. There's so many women, and now if I have to mention like WWE, like I love Naomi, Carmella. People underestimate Carmella, but the girl can move in the ring. I'm not all about the whole 4 horsewomen thing, but I will give credit where credit is due. Becky was my girl for a little bit, but I've been so much focusing on NXT, and now they got Shotzi Blackheart, and I'm so happy that they let her keep her gimmick with the little tank. I love that. And Chelsea Green, which I wish she still had her little her hot mess gimmick. So
I liked that. Yeah.
It's just a little handful of women, but I'm discovering more and more. Like I said, I just started watching wrestling 3 years ago. I got back into it, and now before that, I was just all about WWE. Then once AEW mentioned their thing, I started following who's on their roster. Then I started watching them. Then I started watching their promotions that they're in. Then I started watching more wrestling that they're in. I meet the queen of the indies. She's taking me to indie shows. I'm checking out more indie wrestling and more wrestlers. And I'm just like, my list can go on. And I'm falling in love with it all over again.
You know what?
The most important is the women that's doing it. The women are just bringing it in.
And I love the fact that we're having all different shapes, sizes, races. I think this is so great. I love the fact, okay, like I'm nowhere near skinny. I'm a big girl and everything like that. I love seeing big women hold their own in the ring.
Yes.
I think it's so great. It's so inspiring. It doesn't matter, how skinny you are, how heavy, if you have stretch marks or cellulite or whatever it is, you are freaking beautiful. And I give you mad props because I could not get in the ring like you guys. Like, oof. So
if we run the ropes, I'm gonna need my pump. Like, okay, I'll do one lap. I need to hit. I'll do another lap. Okay, I quit.
Yeah, I can't. Take one step.
There's something for everybody. It may not be our thing, but we love to talk about it. So that's okay. Some other girls I want to mention, for body positivity and like role models for us to look up to. Jessica Havoc right now is just straight killing the game. I love her so very much. And she's a great wrestler and a super intense character. And I love to follow her. Faye Jackson is really cool as well. She has a sweatpants party going on Mania. Let me tell you. I think we might need to do like a watch along episode for that, all three of us, because oh Lord. So that's another topic for another day. But I love Faye Jackson. She's super dope. And so many women, all of the ones that you guys mentioned, I'm obsessed with. I love a lot of women from Japan as well, that we see, of course, on our screen. Asuka, Io Shirai.
Yep.
Some of my favorites. I know. They're unbelievable. And you know what's so cool? To see now in 2020 the fact that we have more women coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
And I feel so happy about that. Like last year we had women headlining WrestleMania. And say what you want about WWE. I get it. But they did do it. And that is a huge thing. And, if you're really into women's promotions, you should #watch Stardom. Shout out to JPQ. They're an excellent set of female wrestlers. Excellent. If you like Io and Kyrie, that's where they came from. And, of course, Pro Wrestling Eve. That's another huge thing.
Shine's another one that goes around.
Shine is another one.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's so cool. And there's a rumor going around right now about Mania that there's going to be at least 4 women's matches on a Mania card.
Good for them.
And we need it.
We need it because this is the push now. Here we are. The indies have been pushing it for a long time. That is not a secret. They've been pushing women's wrestling a lot longer and been doing it a lot longer. But what we need is the exposure in the bigger promotions because they have the reach. They have the money. They have that sort of reach and power in that way. Seeing that kind of stuff makes me go, you know what? This is good. We're going to have 3 women's title matches at Mania this year.
That's awesome. They need intergender. I think
it'll come in NXT.
Yeah.
We're gonna get it NXT first.
Soon. I don't think so soon, but I think eventually, maybe within the next couple of years, because we are seeing the intergender like crazy in the indies. But you're right, we do need this kind of platform in the bigger promotions, which would be great. And again, women can get hurt with women, men can get hurt with men, so it's going to happen and they're going to take the precaution and you're trained correctly, you should be fine. So
Absolutely.
I do hope that we do see more of that on the main promotions. I'm really hoping eventually AEW we're going to get that. And I think, like I said, when we had that mixed intergender on Dark, on the cruise and everything like that, and then I think the views were insanity on that episode.
That match was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
So I'm hoping, within maybe another year or two, I'm hoping that we're going to start seeing that on main platforms. I'm really, really hoping for it.
I think so too. And I'm hoping as well. And what I'm also noticing is the increase of females talking about wrestling.
Yes.
Podcasting, writing, in journalism, in the wrestling media. I'm seeing that more and more for the past 2 years than I have, I don't know, in the last 5. I feel like if you went 5 years back, not a lot of girls.
Yeah.
It's just not prevalent. And we have our shows. April's got a new coming soon. And this is crazy because when I started podcasting 1 year ago, my birthday for Queen's Court is in April. 1 year ago, there weren't a lot of people, women specifically, that I heard on my favorite shows that I would listen to. Podcasts that got me into wrestling. I was listening to them, and they would do interviews sometimes with female wrestlers, but I didn't find like a lot of female voices. And I'm like, okay. And then once I joined Wrestling Twitter, I found a couple of more. And that's how I met Tiffany. And we started, bonding, and now we're besties, and here we are. But we're moving like through this, and I'm like, okay, I can count the women who have podcasts basically on maybe 2 hands, and that's about it.
Right.
Such a small circle. And I want women who love wrestling to truly embrace their fandom and like, let's go. You've got a voice. You got something to say. You can do it. Anybody can do it. If I can learn how to do it, anybody can learn how to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a couple things you have to figure out. You have to have, some sort of like goal of what you're trying to get across in an episode. You have to be organized and prepared enough so that people are going to engage with you. But to be honest, the tech stuff, you can get help on. There's tons of videos. There's tons of guides. There's tons of things. And even if you don't want a podcast, you can write.
Mm-hmm.
You can do interviews with people. There is a ton of things that you can do, but I just feel like we need more. And it's been growing and growing. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your experience as a female podcaster in this wide world of wrestling. April, you mentioned it before, you're bringing the most girly thing a girl can do with the most masculine sport. And we're putting it together, right?
Yeah.
It's a great comment because the world of wrestling is very heavily male dominated. And while we are seeing progress, it's not super easy always to be a female podcaster. So I'd love to hear about, what you think on that.
It's crazy. Like I mentioned before, I just got back into wrestling, and how I got into the whole thing was I met one of my friends at a Raw, I want to say 2014, and me and her completely bonded. And then I saw she was on this podcast. I'm listening to it. I'm loving it. They invited me on it. Boom. I did a few episodes. I loved it. Then I joined Unpopular Review. And it's just crazy because, yes, we were getting views because, whoa, we got a woman talking about wrestling. Oh, also she's pretty too. We're gonna use that. I'm like, okay. So as time went on, I wanted to do what I have on my show, Ladies Takeovers. I want to bring on a female, and I just want to talk wrestling. I was having a lot of complications with that because a lot of the women who I would bring on and talk to, all they want to do is talk about the male wrestlers, which I don't care. I could go on and on about how hot some of these wrestlers are and everything, but I also want to talk about the matches. I want to talk about their personas, the theatrics of it all. So it was very, very annoying and complicated because I'm just trying to find, as much as I don't mind talking to guys, but it's like, I would love to talk to a woman about wrestling. I saw something last night that I want their opinion on. I don't want to talk about something and it comes with guys. So once I got back on Twitter, before that I was listening to shout out to those wrestling girls and
yes,
Wind Down. Those 2 female podcasts caught my eye, and I'm like, wow, these are female dominant podcasts. I'm loving what I'm hearing. I need more of this. And every time I will talk about wrestling, it's mostly with guys. And I'm like, okay, I need more girls. This is getting ridiculous. I get back on Twitter, and something told me, go through your iTunes, look up female dominated podcasts. And of course, yours, Queen, came along. You know what? Okay, let me listen. And it was the first episode of, I think it was Queen's Court with you and Tiff. And I have never felt so comfortable listening to a podcast. I felt like I was in a coffee shop with you two and just talking wrestling.
Definitely coffee shop.
Like, I need more of this. So as I got on Twitter, starting to find more women, and it's like, yes, we need this. And like you said before, we wouldn't have this a couple years ago. I got into podcasting literally like last January, and it is growing. And I'm happy to see more women of us coming together. And this is why I wanted to branch out and do my own thing. You know, it doesn't always have to be just talking about wrestling. There's so much you can do with wrestling. I met a girl who she has her own show where she talks about wrestling and intertwines it with Disney. And it's like, how? But
That's
it's just,
awesome.
it is awesome. And it's like, you know what? This is great. You know, we need to have something relatable and it could bring more eyes to it. So it's like, you know what? I have two things that I love in the world. I want to combine it and I want to bring it out there. And I want to meet more women. And I want us to have a little crew. It's just like, you know what? I want to have a crew of women to just, let's go to a show. Let's go crazy. And not just because the guys are looking hot. Like, I want us to have conversation. Who is our favorite wrestlers of the night?
Yeah.
Who do we want to see going forward? What are our favorite promotions? Hell, let's bring each other to different promotions. Like, let's just come together and I'm gonna create a movement. The Moo movement.
The Moo movement. Let's go.
Oh my
I'm telling you, it's the best idea ever. I would love that. All I want to do is go to a show with a group of girls
my God.
and like
Girls
just
night out to a
That's it.
wrestling show.
Oh my God.
let's go. I'm in.
Me and April are a mess together. Okay? Like, could I
It gets
talk about
bad.
last freaking Friday that we went to a show and we caused so much. And the funniest thing is we were with a bunch of dudes, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of guys. It was me and April, and then April, one of her co-hosts, Katrina, shout out to you, who's another beautiful woman who, you know, loves wrestling as well, knows her stuff. And then we were hanging out with this girl, Rhea, that was sitting behind us that I've met numerous times at indie shows. And then there was another girl sit with her, and she was just like, hi. She's like, I'm like new here. I don't know anybody, but I love women wrestling or whatever. We're like, all right, cool. Like, you know, like join in on the fun or whatever like that. And then we're like, be very leery of me and April together because we are very bad because when besides the fact that we're friends with so many wrestlers and we're going to start so much crap and then the wrestlers are messing with us because they know us and everything like that, it makes it so much enjoyable. And I love it. I love it. The guys just have a ball. Our
Yes.
hanging out with like me and April, they're like, you, even Ray. Well, I give credit to Ray. Ray, you know, Ray's been trained.
Shout out to Ray, man, because
Like,
damn.
the shit we put that man through. I'm so sorry, but like I love him to death and everything. But he sits there, like, you know, again, like I said, he works within wrestling, right? So he's got a different mindset than us as a fan, right? Because we're not working or whatever. So he's got a different mindset than me and April, right? So, but he has so much fun watching me and April while out. It's the most funniest thing. He was like, you two are a mess, but we have so much fun. And I put a tweet out today that I'm like, you know, life is short, man. And, you know, it's really the people that you hang out with and what you do and have fun. Like, you know what? Like, I'm paying $15, $20 for the show or whatever. Like, I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to mess with the wrestlers. I'm going to get the wrestlers to throw water at me and sit on my lap and shit like that. Shout out to Chris Steeler because that's husband, probably number 3, probably now after him sitting on my lap. I'm just saying, he's so freaking hot. Anyway, back to
There we go.
He shot
Hashtag
tears.
list of husbands.
the husband. Anyway.
Far away.
Oh my God, but it's true though. It's like there isn't a lot of women, and it's nice, and a lot of times even as the wrestlers, they'll look at us and they'll be like, oh, you know, who's that girl? Is she with one of the wrestlers, or is she here with somebody, or is she just here for the cute guys or whatever? But you know, it's so funny because I've had so many relationships within the last few months or whatever with these wrestlers, and like they know who I am, and even more and more wrestlers, maybe I don't know who they are, they're very aware of me. Oh, I've seen you on your podcast. Oh, I've seen your podcast with this one or whatever. So they're very aware of who I am and what I do, and then they know that I love to shine like positivity, and I want to put them over because I'm not only am I putting it out for everybody else to learn who these wrestlers are, I get the joy myself to learn the stories of these wrestlers, of how they started, what's their goals, what are they planning to do, whatever their story is, I want to hear it. So I get a personal what's the word? Like I'm just
You get
enjoying.
joy, yeah. You get enjoyment, yeah.
It's just enjoyment of it. But there's I wish there would be more women that are there for, and I feel like we are starting to see. I think you're right. We're starting to see more and more women that are showing up to see wrestling, and they're not just there for their boyfriend or their husband or whatever. Like, they're women that really enjoy wrestling. And I mean, you two guys are great, and I love working with both of you. Like, I couldn't
Back at you.
do anything more with you two, because it's fun to like sit and slip and slide and list the husbands and get the fan and everything like that. But it's nice to exchange conversations with people that actually understand wrestling, and we can actually talk about it.
It's the best part. It's the best. And my hope and wish as we move through 2020 is we get more female voices in wrestling media. There's a lot of women on wrestling Twitter that are involved in some way, shape, or form, whether it's journalism or being commentators, referees,
fan art,
wrestlers, fan art, graphic design. That's right. Shout out to Maria. Woo!
Yes.
That girl's got talent.
Obsessed with her art. Jesus.
Yes. And a lot of coverage of women's wrestling and websites and everything that you can imagine, plus the actual wrestlers themselves, and of course us podcasters. I want more women in 2020. That's my goal. Yes. And I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna figure it out.
We're with you.
I want more. I want to build a grill. Yeah, I want to build basically a girl army that we can like support each other and watch things together and collaborate and shine a light on some podcast or whatever it might be. Like, who's a good follow on Twitter? Where can I get information about this? And who really loves women's wrestling? Who likes indie wrestling? Who likes mainstream? Anything and everything I want out more of. So there's a little segment that I want to do where I sent out this tweet on Twitter and we got crazy responses to it. And I'm so excited. So I sent out a tweet yesterday wanting to hear, like, who are the ladies that you want to celebrate? Who are the ladies of wrestling Twitter or podcasting that you want to shout out? So I just have a couple of names that each of us three are going to read. So I'm going to read mine first, and then I'm going to send it off to April and then Tiffany to read theirs. There's a lot of repeats on here, which is amazing. So I just want to say all three of us are shouted out. So, hey.
Thank you guys.
Buddy. Yes. So there's a lot of repeats. So I just want to make sure that, we get everybody. So Conrad of Everything Pro Wrestling wanted to shout out us three. And then he has All Elite Tiffany, of course, Amy, who's Phoenix AEW, Kelsey at Super Kicking It, Do It with Flair on, Oriana 75, shout out to Ori, Kristen Ashley at Smiley Baby Boo, love that name, at OG Puro Queen, and at Those Wrestling Girls, which is at T Wrestling Girls. So that was his list, and then I have a list from Mags, who, in addition to some of the same names, also shouted out at Watches Jess, at Chetty, at Christy P.I., at OM, which is OEMDEEGEE. So it's OMDG. That's how you say it out loud. So those are the ones that are in addition to some of the ones that I mentioned already. And last but not least from my section, I have at Pinups and Pinfalls from Derek Stark. And he also mentioned a few that we have said already. And lastly, not to toot our own horn, someone says, at Queerosaurus, but the folks who identify as women, of course, we will add at Blow, BLOWW, Boston, which I thought was really cute. Not to toot our own horn, but love that. So, April, I'll go to you.
Okay, so I do definitely have a couple of names. A lot of these are new to me, but I am looking forward to following all of these women. Like you said, we're trying to start a crew. We're trying to start a movement with all these bomb women. So just want to give a couple of shout outs to, like I said before, WWD Cast, Wrestling Grind Down, love you girls. So this new one, DZ1904, Kristen Ashley, I don't know if you had mentioned her before. Super Kicking It. Oh, I like that name.
Yeah, sweetheart.
For sure.
She's awesome.
Oh, I'm so ready for it. Alex Gracia 3, Jody Threat, Glitterlicious. Oh, I feel like that should be like Queen of Indies' name, since her love of glitter.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Fear. I think I mentioned Fear Havoc. Let me see. Oh my God, so many names. Someone called me Chris Statso, girl.
Ooh, hey.
You
Let's
need
be
to
friends.
know that we love you.
We
love
do.
you. Let's see another one. Erica Wrestles. I guess if you're a wrestler, okay, I'm gonna be following you. Jordan underscore Blade 92. Queen B Brooke V. Oh, I like that name too. S West Spitfire. Ooh, I'm loving some of these names.
I
Like,
know,
what is
same, right?
up?
Now you see, like, when I read them off when on my pod, I'm like, oh, I love these Twitter handles. They're so great.
I know, right?
Just a few more. Mash Slamovich. Okay, that's fun. Mashaslamobich. I'm gonna check you. I love interesting Twitter names because, like, it makes me want to follow you. So I'm
Right?
gonna
Doesn't
follow
it?
Mhm.
Jody Threat, and the last one is the Chirona. Oh,
Yep.
that sounds like a virus, but I'll follow you anyway. That sounds dope.
I love it. I
Yes.
love.
All right, Tiff.
All right, let's do this. All right, so our boy Chris. I love Chris. He does all our edits and stuff like that. So shout out to you. So there
Oh
was
my
a lot
God, yes, Chris.
I love Chris. There's a lot of names that he put on here that we had already said, but like I'm gonna run through a couple of them because see which ones we didn't. I think Phoenix Justice, Maria underscore Rose, WWD Cass, Smarky Betch.
I love that name.
Oh my
Love
God,
that.
Addie Gypsy Soul, Do It with Flaren, Kelt the Celt. I love her. She's such a sweetheart.
So
Go give her
fun.
love. OG Pure Queen, Lola underscore Bradbury at Amanda DIEHL 13 and at end of the day 05. Awesome. And then my BFF Brad is my bestie. I love him to death. He had to shout out some of the wrestlers. Candy underscore Real Lady Frost, Solo Darling, I love her. W underscore Nightingale, that's another one. He shout out Nyla Rose, Faye Jackson, Smarty Bitch, and Kelp Cell. I love it. You guys all rock.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, shout out to those ladies. And of course, I will put everybody's handle that was shouted out in the description of this episode. So you can look them up, nice and easy. Look at the name, type it in, and you can follow them. So I just want to thank everybody for participating. Thank you, ladies, for reading them. And a couple of shout outs that I'd like to do personally to the ladies. Some of them we've mentioned. Haley and Lowe from Wrestling Wind Down.
Yes.
Are some of the most positive, most nicest, kindest people. They're the best. And Amy, of course, Phoenix AEW. That girl is like just the power of positivity that comes out of that girl's Twitter is unbelievable. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So good.
Yeah, shout out to those wrestling girls as well. They're wonderful. They have a huge series coming out of all the ladies that they've interviewed for their series that they're dropping actually tonight after tonight, of course, being Sunday when we're recording, after Elimination Chamber. So check them out. And of course, my ladies right here. So thank you for being amazing.
Of
And it's something that you mentioned, Queen, before about, us women coming together. And it's not even just with wrestling. There's so much negativity in the female community. And there's just so much hate that I would never understand why there's so much hate when we're just trying to come together. And, we get this bad reputation that we could be shady and petty and things like that. But at the end of the day, we love the same things. Why can't we just come together and just reunite and talk about it? And I get that a lot, especially in the makeup community. As I mentioned before, I'm a certified makeup artist, and when I was doing a lot of all of these things, there's not enough positivity. Like, why can't I go and like someone and it's like, oh, but there's always so much criticism. Like, why can't you just like what they're doing? And that's it. Like, it's all about love, and we love the same things. Why do we have to have so much hate? And this is why, like, I love being a part of this episode with both of you, because we do need to have more women, not just in this community, but we still need to have more love just in general for each other.
I
Like, there's
so
already
agree.
enough hate in there's enough hate in this world. Why can't we just get together and celebrate what we love? I will never
Amen.
understand.
Preach.
That girl.
Ooh.
Yes. That is the message of this episode right
Yes.
there.
Bam.
That's it. Let's come together. Let's put the pettiness aside. And let's talk about wrestling. Let's talk
That's
about
how I met a lot of my
character.
female friends. Like,
Same.
one of my best friends
Yeah.
I've known since junior high. If I want to go back, she had a Backstreet Boy picture, and I'm like, "You like Backstreet Boys? I like Backstreet Boys. We're gonna be best friends." And that's how we became best friends. Like, that's
Easy.
how I became friends with a lot of the few females friends that I had. It's like, I found something that we love. Boom, we're gonna be best friends. Like,
Yep. And here we are.
exactly. The same thing with us. You know, I related, especially when you had your list of husbands segment even more. And I was like, wait, I have a list. I want to talk to these girls. Let me let them know about my list. And
That's
here
right.
we are.
And here we are on an episode.
Oof.
It's wild. Listen,
Yes.
it's the best. Wrestling brings people together, and I'm all about it, especially female wrestling fans. I'm super passionate about bringing more to the light. So thank you, ladies, for coming on this episode. But you can't go quite yet.
Nope.
Oh.
We're in the final part of this episode. And before we go, after all of this talk about being female wrestling fans, okay, and not just loving them for their bodies.
I have to do a dance. You guys know. I know this is an audio podcast, but I'm just dancing in Skype right now because I'm
Right.
so excited right now.
I'm so excited because it's time to announce our February winners of the Get the Fan belt.
Oof.
Oh, I
Get
love
the
this
fan.
segment.
You ready?
Wait. Oof. Oof.
I cannot.
No, I can't either. Oof.
Everyone's looking like a full course meal right now, and I just can't help myself.
My God. Woo.
I can't. I see them on the screen, and I'm like, huh? Is someone talking to me? No? Great. I'm just going to stay right here. So we
Like,
have
you know
to
what?
announce.
Like, everyone shut up.
I know.
Watch your husband right now.
Exactly. I have to announce that I need to be silent so I can view this for myself.
Yeah, serious.
All of you will be quiet and respect.
Don't
the
get on
husband-
a liar shit. Serious. Like, silence your phones and shut your mouth because husband is on.
That's right. Silence your cell phones. There it is. The only thing Elias is good for is that thing. Silence your cell phone.
Yes.
I'm stealing it. Let's go.
Man.
All right. So April, this is your first time.
I'm so excited.
Are you so excited? Okay. So who is your nominee? Who is the person that is taking your February
Ooh.
Get the Fan belts? We're going to award them for whatever you'd like for the month of February.
Well, since this is my first time on the show, and you have had our list of husbands, my number one and my nominee, Tiffany over here like cracking up, John Moxley, number one husband. I have been following this man since day one, and to see him transition into AEW and see his complete vibe change all around. And not only is he your IWGP United States champion, he is your new AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Today, my all-time favorite ginger, my sexy angry pirate, John Moxley.
Sexy angry pirates.
Oof.
Woo!
Girl, let me tell you though, like he took off that eye patch at Revolution, and I was like,
Right?
excuse me, with those eyeballs. Okay.
Yo, you don't understand. I was at the bar. As soon as that match was on, I screamed, "Everybody shut up!"
I think I've heard her in Long
I have
Island.
never heard the bar get so quiet. I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
yes, I have the power. Bay's on, he's gonna win.
The three of us need to go to a show together. Seriously.
Yes, I'm so ready.
Yes.
Well, great nominee. Congratulations, John Moxley, for winning the
Yes.
Get the Fan Championship belt for February from April. Your number one husband right there. All right, Tiff.
All right. So I've decided
Okay.
it's not going to be somebody who's actually on the list of husbands. But
Whoa.
All right. I know I'm throwing everybody off. What? Who? Her?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? I don't know, but because
What is it, Scooby?
Scooby Snack. me a snack. Okay. No, but man, this guy, all right, we're going to talk about, the fact that he had a fabulous 2019 and he's gone into 2020 and he is just all over the place in the indie scene. And I'm so proud of him that he's finally signed with Impact Wrestling. Let's go. Chris Bay. All right. Chris Bay is one of the best in the ring. I mean, he's young. I can only imagine what's going to happen in the next couple of years with him, but I'm so proud of him. I'm glad that I've been following him. I loved everything that he's done in GCW, FSW, and everything. Like his match with Alex Zane, though.
Yeah. Oh my God. So good.
Oh my God.
Beyond.
Yeah, so I was like, he definitely needs to be recognized for the Get the Fan belt. So here you go.
Wow. Great pick. Great pick. All right. Well, my Get the Fan championship belt today for the month of February is going to someone who fell off the list of husbands, but has made his way back.
Ooh.
He was voted off the island like Survivor because I was like, I'm just not feeling you right now. Your vibe is bad. You got to go. Okay. But then he's been slowly pulling at my heartstrings again. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. I thought we broke up. What is going on here? But I can't deny it any longer. He's back on the list of husbands. And he's kicking ass and taking names doing that cowboy shit on AEW. And it is Adam Hangman Page for my Get the Fan champion for the month of February. That man, I can't do it.
I can't handle this right now.
Gonna go the fan. I'm getting double fan. Double fans for you guys.
Can't do it. He comes out with those baby blue eyes drinking that beer, and I'm like, let's go.
He is a gem. He's such a gem.
He's been killing it. Like straight killing it. That character work, he sold me again. I'm like, this is why I loved you in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Redemption.
Love it. There you go. Here's the fan.
Thank you, girl. Oh my God. What an episode. This has been so much fun, girls. Thank you for joining me to celebrate Women's History Month. All of our favorite female wrestlers, our favorite female podcasters, and the ladies of wrestling Twitter and the wrestling media, and just, sharing the airspace with me. So if you would please tell us where they can find you so everyone can immediately go and follow you on Twitter and all necessary social media platforms. April, please go first.
Well, if you love to see awesome makeup looks, you can follow my Instagram at hows_makeup. That's HOWL 3 Z's _makeup MAK 3 UP. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, which is mostly me talking about Jon Moxley and all my other husbands and all other awesome wrestling stuff, at Hows, same HOWLZZZ. And yes, make sure you follow and stay tuned because I got some things in the works that you guys do not want to miss.
Yes, Queen. Can't wait. All right, Tiff, let them know.
I'm usually at an indie show causing havoc, making signs, getting them ripped, water being thrown at, just so you know. Getting sit on, that kind of stuff. But yeah, you can follow me Twitter, Instagram. It's Loves to Dream 82, LUVS 2 Dream 82. I'm on the No Holds Barred Network. You can follow there. The All Elite Pod on Twitter as well. So come find me. I'm the one giggling and talking about all my husbands.
I think we're all talking about our husbands on our Twitter. So sorry,
so true.
But not sorry because we have good taste.
Yes, we do. And stay tuned for the March Get the Fan Champions, which we will be announcing in April. So get ready, get excited. There's so much more to come. Thank you again, ladies, for joining me. And everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. And please be kind to one another.